It's Saturday night.
That's about right. Karen's coming in, you guys. Don't worry. I just had to admit her.
Oh, cool.
And a whole host of others. Hey, Joe, I think between you and our bankers who are with us, I was hoping you could, in the middle of my update, talk about what people need to do to get prepared for the Cal grant opportunity as well as the PPP round of funding. Whatever you know at this point.
No problem.
Okay.
Karen, are you up in Oregon again?
Yes.
Rhonda Hanson's coming on today.
And it's freezing here.
Not warm here.
Oh my gosh, it's so cold up here.
Frost on the cars today.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Thanks.
Where in Oregon are you?
Brookings.
Oh, beautiful.
It is nice here. It's
That's
pretty.
a pretty area, yeah. That's a beautiful area. That and Gold Beach, I love both.
Yes.
We lived in La Pine for 5 years. That was cold.
Yes.
Rhonda in the house.
Hey,
Good morning,
Rhonda.
Rhonda. Oh, look, Sarah's here. Good morning, Sarah.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Is this your first time on?
Yes, it is. I actually just got hired with Smart Business Resource Center. I am their new business services rep. So this is my first greeters.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, yay.
So everyone be kind to me, please.
Oh, I'll be very nice.
Okay, thanks.
Not me. You're in trouble.
I think, you know, if you guys are ready to go, let's get this going.
Okay, so we're going to get this started. I want to welcome everybody to Greeters this morning. I hope everyone had a really nice, safe holiday season and are ready to go into 2021. So it's nice to see everyone, although we do have a kind of a shorter group today, I think, but at least we have the most important. And I want to welcome our Facebook people too. Hello, thanks for joining us this morning. I do want to remind some of our people on Zoom, if you could, just a little housekeeping. If you could place yourselves on mute. And then if you have a question, go to the chat feature and you can submit your question through the chat because some of us will be looking for that. So, okay, let's see. Bill, what else do we have?
Well, I have an announcement.
Okay.
There are no announcements.
That is true. That is true. Thank you for that. So let's see, I know that we have a new, they're not new members, but this is a new representative and we just had talked with Sarah. But Sarah, I'd like to give you an opportunity to just kind of tell a little bit about yourself, like a little 30 to 60 second blurb on yourself, if you want to do that.
Sure. My name is Sarah. I am originally from Reading. I grew up here, born and raised, and then I moved away for about 8 years. And now I came back and I really wanted to get involved in the community, and starting with Smart. And I just got a puppy a couple of months ago and I love him.
That's wonderful. We're very happy to have you on board here. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, absolutely. And then let's see if I can see, is anyone else new to Greeters this morning? I don't think so. Nope, it looks like we've got, let's see. No? Okay. So let's see, gosh, that was a super fast introduction to Greeters this morning. So Jake, I'm gonna see if you have any Jake stakes this morning.
Hey, sorry, I'm gonna just save myself. Aaron, can you email Jason Montague a link to the meeting? He's
I sure can.
Trying to get in. Okay, thanks. All right, now I can get back to focusing on you all.
Okay.
So happy New Year to everyone. Let's just assume that it's a happy New Year and pretend like it is. I mean, we're up and vertical, so we've got to be grateful for that. So anyway, I wanted to first off just talk about the funding at the federal level, the $900 million relief bill that was signed, and many people have received their, I guess you could call it a stimulus check. And hopefully that will help our local community, and people will make some investments here and get some money circulating again in January. Beyond that, probably the most important thing to all of us is that there's significant money dedicated to the Paycheck Protection Program round 2. So Joe Radola, representing the SBDC, I wanted him to have a chance to first tell us what do we need to know about this new funding round? Any changes? What are you hearing at this point?
Morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Excuse me. Yeah, so a couple updates real quick. The state grant program, $5,000 to $25,000 grant that rolled out right after between Christmas and New Year's, supposedly reactivated the Lendistry websites yesterday afternoon sometime. Which allows then this grant to require people to download stuff, tax returns, business license copies, California driver's license IDs. They're going to a little bit further research on these before they hand out the money, which I think is safe. You don't want another EDD thing where they're giving money to people in jail. But they're trying to really kind of solidify this one. Based on how much you made revenue in 2019. That's how they decide. 3 tiers, 15,000, 5,000, 15,000, 25,000. You can't have made over 2.5 million gross sales in 19 to qualify. So the bigger businesses can't get this. There's no doubt about it. It's not first come, first served. And because the website died Saturday afternoon last week because of volumes, they extended the processing time to January 13th next week to get your stuff uploaded. It's all communication by email and text, and then you follow the prompts. Send in your documents. That's the grant. Okay.
I got a question for you, Joe. Just on that is, I'll be blunt. Do you think that businesses in the North State have a realistic shot of getting funded?
If you're in one of the quote unquote highly affected business types, restaurant, spa, gym, hair, nails, that kind of thing, where closures have been rampant, you got a shot. Okay. The issue is one of the 4 determining factors, since it's not first come, first served, is how much has your community been closed during the last 9, 10, 12 months, 11 months, whatever it's been. And we haven't been as closed as LA, the Valley, Fresno area, San Joaquin. So yeah, they have a leg up on us on times of closure, but it's, if you're in one of the affected job or business groups, and you are also a veteran, women-owned business, minority, then you got two of the bells and whistles. If you're a restaurant that's owned by a veteran, boom, or if you're a woman-owned veteran, disabled, then you got a really good shot if you have a restaurant or a whatever it is. So yeah, it's competitive.
I'm glad you could spell that out, because I wanted people to hear some of those parameters that give you a better shot than others, as we know it's going to be really competitive. Okay, so then PPP.
PPP, there is a great webinar this morning put on by Tricia over at the Women's Business Center. Please, all of you, if you can attend the webinar from 10 to 11 this morning, she got some inside dope I didn't. And guess who's going to be on that call? Me, because I love her, and she's got some updates on that PPP. It hasn't officially rolled out. There's going to be a new amount of funds in that 900 billion thing signed by the president right after Christmas. But we haven't been, at SBDC, we haven't been privy as to who's going to do it, what banks, and when. So I'm gonna listen in on Tricia's thing this morning and see if she's got more insight, but it hasn't officially kind of hit the streets yet.
I know that the business portion is something like $325 billion of the total 900 billion is for business support relief. So I think that's a good show of support for small business in the country. Lisa and Karen, I wanted to give Lisa a chance representing a bank. Anything from your perspective that people should be doing?
Well, like Joe said, you really need to be looking at the guidelines within the SBA. I mean, we even at the bank haven't received all of the direction yet. We're just really waiting on them. The fortunate thing is that, we've been through this. I was fortunate enough and honored to be on the team last time where I was actually submitting applications into the SBA website. So, it's all hands on deck. We're obviously way more prepared this time. So I would say hopefully customers are too, get a hold of your bank. If you did your PPP the first time, understand what the guidelines are, as far as if you qualify, have all your documents ready, get your bookkeeper or whoever involved as soon as possible so that as soon as we can start taking those applications, you're ready to roll.
Anything to add to that, Karen? Thanks, Lisa.
No, thank you. Joe and Lisa kind of nailed everything on the head. So yeah, I would just say be prepared.
Okay. Well, thank you to the three of you for adding those insights and making the Jake's takes a little more interesting. I think the last thing I'll mention is I had lunch with our new mayor, Erin Resner, this week. She is due to have she and Chris's fourth baby any day now. And I said to her, we'd love to have you be a part of our Legends and Leaders virtual event coming up later this month, but I understand that you're probably going to be on maternity leave. And she looked at me and said, I don't take maternity leave. So she's planning right after she has this baby and she's out of the hospital, she's planning to conduct business from the dais at City Council while nursing, changing diapers, whatever else is necessary. And I can confidently say that she is Reading's first pregnant mayor, probably. And then she's also going to be Reading's first mayor to conduct a meeting while also nursing a child. So the local news has been contacted on this, and so has First Five. And we think this is an opportunity to show the importance of business-friendly, family-friendly businesses and what that can mean, particularly in COVID-19 and so forth. But it's going to be a fun human interest story, I'm sure. So we'll look forward to that. Okay, thanks. Anybody have any questions for me? Anything at all?
Anything, you name it. All right. Oh, you slid by that one. You skipped that.
They're having a boy, and Erin says we have really big babies. So she said that she wouldn't be surprised if this baby ends up being close to 10 pounds.
Oh dear.
And that's Jake's takes.
Woo. All righty. Okay. Well, Jake, I will turn it back over to you and have you introduce our guest this morning.
Okay, so Michelle has been a regular at Greeters lately, and she's one of our MVPs at the Chamber. O2 Employment Services, in a lot of ways, they really go hand in hand with the work that we do. We've leaned on their expertise, particularly in the HR world and getting the updates to our business community. Usually this time of year, we're talking about kind of the basic changes that are occurring in the workplace and with human resources. But this year, it's really been heightened, and the importance of knowing what these changes are and how they could affect your business if not followed, I think are really crucial this year. So without going to an extensive bio for her, because we all know Michelle, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle Nystrom from O2 Employment Services to give us the latest today. Michelle, thank you.
All right. So thanks to Jake and Erin from the Chamber for always inviting me to give bad news. One of these days I'm going to come on with like pictures of babies and puppies and just try to make it light. But I'm going to attempt to share my screen. I did throw together some slides, which actually were stolen from someone else in my office from a previous webinar that we did on the Cal Osha requirements. So I know Aaron and Joe responded to Nolan's question too, and I'll just chime in on that while I'm figuring out how to share my screen. That you can qualify for a second round of PPP according to the legislation that we saw, and but there are limitations on it, like employer size and stuff like that this time, so you can't be over 300 employees. Thumbs up if you can see my screen. Awesome. Okay, we're off to a good start. So that's all the good news that I had for you so far this morning. So as you guys may or may not be aware, on November 30th, there were new Cal Osha regulations that went into place regarding COVID-19. Cal Osha is Occupational Health and Safety Administration. It applies to the state of California only, thus the Cal and Cal Osha. And most of us that are employers are very familiar with OSHA, especially if you are in a higher risk industry or you have had injuries and things like that. They monitor basically workplace safety. So they came out with some regulations that caused a lot of stir, because a lot of people weren't aware of them until after they had already been enacted. They can be kind of scary for employers, so hopefully we can mitigate some of that by clearing up some of that. There's a lot of information on this. I mean, this could be a well over an hour presentation. It's not going to be, don't worry. I have no intention of talking that long this morning. But I just want to give you guys an overview. And then of course, if you guys have any questions or you have any businesses that you know that need assistance with this, I know the Chamber's been sending a lot of them our way. And please feel free to do that and to share our information, because as we did throughout 2020, I'm not really sure that 2020 ended. I think we're just kind of extending it into 2021. But we're offering free help for businesses, whether they are clients or not, to get them through the COVID-19 HR disaster that it has been. So part of the Cal Osha regulations were a new advance notice to employees, that you are now required to provide written notice to your employees of an exposure in the workplace. So that also includes subcontracted employees, vendors, employers that have employees on your site. And you need to provide notice if they have been exposed. You also need to give information on the benefits available to those employees, as well as inform them about any precautions that you have taken, cleaning measures, disinfecting, things along those lines, in accordance with the CDC. The written notice is a little bit, I don't want to say scary for employers, but kind of, because you're basically putting in something in front of your employees that they get to keep that says you've been exposed in the workplace. And as with all of the OSHA regulations, that those regulations take place, these don't apply to an exposure like from you met with your family at Christmas, or you went to a party, or you attended a wedding, or this is just applicable to workplace exposure. In terms of the benefits, so the law that recently passed that provided the additional stimulus, that renewed PPP for the second round of funding, or third round, I don't know, whatever round, second chance, they called it something. Joe would probably know better. I don't remember what the exact name was, but anyways, the newest stimulus that was signed the Sunday after New Year's by the president did put into place. So you guys know that the FFCRA provided COVID sick leave up to 10 days and 80 hours for employees that had to be off work for a quarantine, for symptoms, for exposure, waiting for testing. There were 6 different reasons. That expired on December 31st. It was mandatory for all employers to offer it up until December 31st. It has been extended with that new law. However, it extends until March 31st now, but it is now optional for employers. So you are not legally required to offer it to your employees anymore. I will just preface that by saying you cannot pick and choose which employees, like, I like Joe, so I'm going to give him the leave. I'm not a huge fan of Jake, so I'm going to deny his leave, right? It's got to be, you guys are at the top of my screen, so you're going to be my examples if I need them. But, so you kind of have to make a decision as a business. We're going to continue to extend this until March 31st, or we're not going to continue to extend it. And it's an all or nothing deal. Okay, can I advance my slide? Yay, I can. Okay. So as I said, these emergency regulations took place or took effect on November 30th. They gave us 0 time in terms of like passing it versus implementing it. It basically went into effect immediately. And the key points of this are every employer is now required to have what's called a CPP, which is COVID-19 Prevention Program. So this is similar to your IIPP that everyone is required to have, which is an injury and illness prevention program. I'm going to give you all the acronyms. There's like a bazillion of them in HR. So all employers must create this. There are 7 key elements that must be addressed in this plan. You can include it with your IIPP, so you can incorporate it into your current IIPP, or you can have it as a separate document. You know, this is something that these regulations aren't going to be in place forever, ideally. So I recommend having it as a separate document. That way your IIPP stays intact. But it does establish a new set of requirements as well for multiple outbreaks or major outbreaks, which does require payment to your employees in some circumstances. And it also requires the mandatory employee testing. And then there's also specific provisions related to employer provided housing and transportation. Because those are pretty unique circumstances that don't kind of globally apply to all businesses, I'm not going to dive too deep into the housing and transportation, but if that does apply to your business, just keep in mind there's specifics on that. Okay, so the 11 elements that have to be included in your CPP. So, and these all go into, there's much more extensive detail on each of these. Again, we're not going to make this an hour presentation, so I'm just going to kind of flip through these so you guys have an idea of what those 11 things are. And it has to, you have to have a written communication system, how you're going to communicate to your employees if there's exposure, outbreak, risk involved. You have to identify and evaluate any potential hazards within your business. And again, these are hazards related to COVID-19. You have to have written procedures to investigate and respond, and that includes that new notice of exposure for your employees. You have to have a plan in place to correct any workplace hazards that relate to COVID-19. You have to have documented employee training and instruction, and you have to maintain that documentation. I believe it's for a period of 3 years. So once you have your CPP written, you have to have documentation on how you trained your employees on what's expected of them and the protocols, and then you have to maintain that documentation. You have to have physical distancing protocols. And a lot of this is stuff that, like, for most of us, right, we've been having social distancing, having the mask requirements, things like that within our businesses, but now it has to be written and that has to be provided to your employees. They have to have access to this plan. So face covering provisions, other controls as it relates to other PPE or ventilation issues that you may have within your business. You have to have reporting, record keeping, and access to those records. And you have to have a method to limit COVID-19 transmission in the workplace and a return to work plan. So as I said, each of these elements contains specific information that has to be included. It's pretty extensive, so I'm not going to get into too many of those details this morning, but just keep in mind, like, each one of these bullet points is not as simple as a bullet point. So as it relates to outbreaks and major outbreaks, so outbreak is defined as 3 or more COVID cases in a workplace within a 14-day period. If that occurs, you have to provide at no cost to your employee testing to all the employees at the exposed workplace. It does not apply to those that would not have been exposed in those cases. They have to be tested on a weekly basis until there is no longer an outbreak. And then there are additional requirements if it's considered a major outbreak. And I don't know if I did a slide on major outbreak. I did not. So major outbreak is considered 20 or more cases. So that is, I want to say, hopefully pretty rare in our area. We haven't had cases that I'm aware of that were considered major outbreaks, at least since the passing of this legislation. And so, but really, so it's that major outbreak that you want to look for in terms of a 3 cases within 14 days is kind of your moving target. When it comes to workplace exposure of COVID-19 in terms of pay, we definitely recommend that you consult with legal counsel regarding wage replacement, because it can get a little sticky And as with so many laws, like we were talking about with this second wave, third wave, fourth wave of PPP, they pass the laws, they implement the laws, they go into effect, and then they give us guidance for the next 3 months on how it needs to be regulated and handled. So, but basically under this provision, it requires employers to maintain an employee's earnings, seniority, all other employee rights and benefits as if the employee had not been removed from their job. So essentially, you're required to continue paying your employees and make them whole if they are out of work for a COVID-19 related reason due to workplace exposure. What that will mean for employers is that if they have cases or exposure within their workplace, they will have to continue paying those employees. And that does not have the, the federal kickback in terms of being able to take that deduction of their wages on your 941. There's no compensation involved in this regulation from Cal Osha. So that compensation and that money is going to come from the businesses to the employees. So obviously the goal is going to be prevent outbreaks, prevent exposure within the workplace, because that's a very huge burden for employers to carry, to continue to pay their employees. You cannot require them to use their California paid sick leave. You cannot require them to use their vacation time. It has to come from the employer to make that employee whole. Now, there are things that you can use to make up those funds if you have this situation. And so it says that you're able to consider benefits from public sources to maintain earnings. What that will mean is that if your employee goes on unemployment, then you would only be paying them the difference to make them whole. Or if it's covered by workers' compensation, you would be paying the difference to make them whole. Some employees go on state disability depending on the severity of their case. And when it says you can use employer provided employee sick leave benefits, so that's going to be, you're able to use that COVID-19 FFCRA through March 31st. But remember that only applies to 10 days, 80 hours. And an employee cannot use it if they've already maxed out. So if they already used it in 2020, it's, from what we know so far, it did not reset. It just can be extended. So this could get sticky for employers that have workplace exposure or cases that can be tied back to the workplace. So that's where that Cpp plan, that the extra measures that you're taking in place, the safety precautions that you have really come into effect. So Cal Osha trumps, no pun intended, all other laws and statutes. And the Cal Osha fines anywhere from $13,000 to $132,000 for each violation. And so, as you guys can imagine, for small businesses, those kinds of fines and regulations could be devastating. And so, super important that businesses are aware of these rules, have those plans in place. We have had businesses that have had anonymous OSHA reports that then OSHA is required to investigate. Typically, those come from employees who are concerned about workplace safety and don't feel like their employer is complying with the rules in order to keep them safe. So there are reporting measures for people that have concerns about workplaces. And so it's really important that, should a business have a report, have an outbreak, have anything that's going to kind of deem an OSHA investigation, that they have all of these plans in place. They've got their written notice of exposure. They're following the rules. They're doing the disinfectant. They have the face protection and the PPE required for their employees. So, okay, so California Department of Public Health new guidance. We just got confirmation last night from our local public health that they are going to move from the 14-day quarantine to the 10-day quarantine. So as you guys probably heard, that came out from CDC. I can't even keep track of time anymore. Several weeks ago, we'll just say that. However, our local public health had not officially adopted that stance yet. So this does help employers from a standpoint of, rather than having your employees have to quarantine for 14 days, they would now just have to quarantine for 10 days and continue to monitor their symptoms. always recommend that employers are checking California Department of Public Health website, CDC website, to make sure, because these regulations and the requirements and the timeframes, all of that is continually changing, as it has been for the last 10 months, 11 months, 12 months, I don't know, however long we've been dealing with this now. So just making sure that you're staying on top of that, watching for those updates, and making sure that you have the correct time frame when it comes to how long your employees need to be out of the workplace, how long they need to be symptom-free before they can return, the difference between a quarantine if you're exposed but not tested, if you're exposed but test negative, if you're exposed but test positive, if you have symptoms but choose not to get tested. It's just, it's all over the board. That's it. So my favorite picture of our team helping you sleep at night, right? I think that was a good theme for us in 2020. We have not gotten much sleep, but looking forward to that maybe in 2022. So as always, you guys, if you guys have questions on this, if you guys need a sample CPP plan, we have one that we're happy to share with you, as well as a sample of the notice of exposure that we put together. We do still have the FFCRA forms if you need those for leaves and things along that line. You can email us at the info@o2es.com or call our office, and we're happy to help you with those things. Or if you have, a unique situation that you're like, hey, this came up and I'm not sure how to deal with this, because everything with COVID-19 relates to your employees and to people. Each situation is a little bit different. And so feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. I'm going to take this off of the screen share now because I can't see the question portion.
Michelle, great job again, as usual. With some of these things in the past, when like sexual harassment preventative training, which is something that you could probably touch on too, is it limited based upon number of employees, or is it everyone in terms of the Cal Osha thing you just talked about?
Cal Osha applies to everyone. And then like with the sexual harassment training, obviously that requirement went into effect as of January 1st. The state did not extend that out as we hoped they would based on the COVID response and what was going on. So like we're having to do it virtually now, where we have basically an online training and testing. And there are some resources out there for sites that offer those and that can do those for you. So if you guys need help with that went into effect January 1. Mandatory reporter training for anyone that has employees under the age of 18. Their supervisors and managers are now required to become mandatory reporters in the state of California. So that one also went into effect January 1, as well as a bunch of other changes. And I know we're working with the chamber to do I don't even remember your original question, by the way, so let me know if I didn't answer it. But we're working with the chamber to set up our annual 2021 labor law update. So look for that date to be coming out in February to definitely share, where we'll be going over all of the new regulations for 2021, changes to laws. The state legislator and the governor have not been shy about continuing to pass legislation during this time. So we'll be putting on that. And I think we're aiming for the first or second week of February. I think we're aiming for second week of February now. And so we'll get that information out to everyone through chamber and EDC and through O2.
Welcome to Todd Jones, one of our board members, by the way. And let's see, what was I going to say? Okay, maybe last thing from me is just a bit of good news. Change in 2021 tax law that I saw that applies to our restaurants, it'd be very interesting to them, is that now you can deduct 100% of the cost of meals and I guess entertainment as well for businesses. So if you're a business owner and you take somebody out to lunch, now 100% of that tab is tax deductible instead of 50%. So I think that's a boost to in making the case to do takeout, delivery, or in-house dining when we can do that, because it does apply to takeout and delivery as well. Okay, thanks again, Michelle. Any other questions?
Yeah, Joe, I saw yours come in. we don't have plans to offer a webinar just on the Cal Osha regulations right now, but we will be covering them in the webinar on the 2021 law updates. So, you know, with the Cal Osha, it does have a stop date. And so we don't want to get, we want the information to get out there, but we don't want to freak people out and have them too worried about running their business and things like that as well. So at this point, we're just trying to get the information out somewhat organically, but it will be covered in that 2021 law update. Any other questions? Karen, I see your lips moving, but I can't hear you.
Karen's working hard to mute herself. She's trying.
I'm so
There it is.
sorry. I was like, are there any more questions through the chat? So no, okay, I looked at that. No more questions through that. Thank you, Michelle, for that. And I know that, well, I could imagine how awful this has been for you. So good job.
It's been entertaining. I'm not getting a puppy until anytime soon, because that's no time.
Oh. All right, well, Bill, I think that we might be due for some personal introductions.
Okay, who are you?
I am Karen Simmons with Cornerstone Community Bank. And how about you? Who are you?
I'm Bill Woodford with U.S. Lending. Things are still, rates are still low and still a good time to refinance or purchase a new house if you can find one.
Yes.
All right, Bruce, you're up.
Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Bruce Preston with Guild Mortgage, and what Bill said.
Michelle Feisler.
Hi, I'm Michelle Fiesler. I'm the HR Director for Alliance for Workforce Development, which is pretty much like the Smart Center. We just have some different counties, but I do reside and work here in Reading.
Todd, your turn.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Todd Jones, president of the Shasta EDC. I was on a call earlier for Jake's Take. Sorry, I missed a little bit of that, but I don't think you announced it. Most of you probably seen it in the news, but the LAX flight starts back up on March 4th. So even though it shows February that you can get a direct flight, United is mean sometimes. So it's not true. You can't get a direct flight in February. If you got one, it would reroute you. So March 4th is the official date of that return. We don't know the exact times yet. They may shift, but we're excited about that because, as all of you know, or most of you know, we put together a $1 million revenue guarantee through the community, through a lot of different businesses and organizations. United, unfortunately, mostly due to COVID, at the end of that revenue guarantee, used up a majority of those funds. So now they're actually restarting that flight without the promise of a revenue guarantee because they do believe that this market can support it. So we're really excited about that. We're also looking at a Denver flight with United, which is that's public information. We're working with them on that opportunity, which would start next year. That's a direct flight, and stay tuned for more exciting airport information over the next year, hopefully sooner than that. But there's a lot of movement in the airline space, and we're definitely proving to be a good market for that. And fly local if you can. I know those prices are higher, but think about your time and the frustration driving to Sacramento. So that's my big, exciting announcement for the day, but also excited to be on with Michelle at O2 Employment Services. They're a platinum sponsor with the EDC. We're very grateful for their support, but not just their support. Like Jake mentioned, we also work with them very closely with something that we do called the California Manufacturing and Trade Consulting, or Technical Consulting, excuse me. And that offers free consulting, 24 hours of consulting to our local manufacturers. So if you know a manufacturer that wants to take advantage of potentially up to 24 hours of free consulting on HR, for example, they can reach out to me and we can put them in touch with O2, and they get 24 hours free, which is awesome. We also do a lot of other specialties like lean consulting, Kaizen, Six Sigma, a bunch of other more technical things, but HR is certainly one of our more popular ones. So anyway, sorry for the long introduction. I'm happy to be here.
Some good news in there. Joe, you're up.
Yep.
Good morning, everybody. And remember that the SBDC out here on Airport Road, we're available to answer questions and help people through that application process. It's an online process through Lendistry for the grant program, but there are some little tricks that we've already learned. We'll be happy to pass along. Like, don't forget, if you're a sole proprietor, that you're an employee of yourself. There's one popped up again. So don't forget to count yourself as an employee. Anyway, give us a call and have a great day. Happy New Year.
Debbie,
Good morning. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm Debbie Chimenti, Chamber Ambassador, and work with One Safe Place. Hope you all have a great day.
Sam,
Good morning, everyone. Sam Hyder here, General Manager with Southern Aluminum Finishing. Hope you all having a good new year, off to a rocky start. Thanks, Michelle, for good info as always.
Rhonda, you're up.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry about that. Ron was coordinating some place state of celebrating. Everybody, don't forget Kelly's Pub and Wine Bar. We are by far the friendliest bar. And we're getting ready to close down, so come help drain those kegs for the last few days. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Did everybody catch that? It was kind of garbled on my end.
Yeah, it was garbled on my end too. I'm sorry, Rhonda.
Sorry.
That's okay. Nice to see you though.
Do it in sign language. Sarah, you're up.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I am the new business services rep at Smart Workforce Center, and it's very nice to meet all of you.
Haley,
I am Haley. I'm the operations assistant here at the chamber.
Jason, you're up, bud.
Good morning, everybody. Great to see everybody. Jason with Giles Lock and Security, and with great.
You kind of cut out there at the last two. Erin.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Erin Hall at the Reading Chamber of Commerce. I'm the Director of Marketing and Membership. And thank you so much to Michelle and to Joe for all of your work that you do to support the business community. We really appreciate being able to partner with you guys and offer a network of support. It's huge. And I send people to you guys all the time, as you know. So thank you. Many, many thanks.
Lisa.
Good morning, everyone. I am still your loud and proud Lion Lisa Grimmett, Reading Host Lions, also Treasury Management Officer at Tri-Counties Bank. And Michelle, as always, thank you so much for a great presentation and for all you guys do in our community. I don't know what we would all do without you guys, so thank you. You too, Joe.
Yes.
Colleen.
Good morning, Colleen from Shining Care. Michelle, thank you. That was very informative. I appreciate that the chamber, offers this information to us because it can be a little hard to get it all gathered up and feel confident that you're getting the right information. So thank you. Shining Care is going to be doing their Shining Affair. It will be virtual. Spiro Pictures will be helping us getting that going this year. We have a lip sync battle going on, so you can get a video in from your business. We have a guest star, Pam Tellis will be joining us this year, so we're really excited. We'll be getting that news out to you. Thank you.
Melinda, you're up.
Good morning. I'm Melinda with MC Hunter Photography, and I'm your photographer who creates wonderful experiences and images that you will love.
Nolan.
Hey guys, my name is Nolan Erickson. I work for the Good News Rescue Mission. Michelle, thank you so much for sharing everything that you shared. And for supporting the mission in the way that you did in the month of December. It might have been the end of November, but either way, thank you so much.
Destiny.
Good
morning, Destiny with Shasta County Arts Council. Just a reminder, if you do have any local events, please email them to me, destiny@shastaartscouncil.org, and I can make sure they go out to in our weekly email newsletter.
Michelle.
All right, I always forget I have to talk again and I have nothing prepared. Thank you. Thank you for all of the thank yous. And I will just remind you guys too, that in addition to COVID-19, we did run a business before and we will after. So if you guys know of people that need help with staffing, because doesn't everybody right now, or HR services, that is still a thing. So happy to support the community, really thankful for all of you guys and what you guys are doing in the chamber. And if there's one thing that 2020 taught us, it's that we truly can rely on each other. And I think that that's what got us through and what gets us through for the hope for a better tomorrow. So I appreciate all of you and your role that you played in that and that you continue to play. And now I'm done.
Michelle wasn't telling the truth. She was reading a teleprompter there.
I was. Was it that obvious?
Uplifting words for what's going on right now. Jake, you're last on the list, bud.
Okay, so Jake Mangus, President and CEO of the Reading Chamber of Commerce and the Forward Reading Foundation. We've been administering all of these grants through the county through our Forward Reading Foundation, which is our 501c3. Also, the Reading City Identity Project is through that foundation. And I'm pleased to let you know that Electric Alley is ready to go. We just have to flip the switch. So we're waiting for the alleyway itself to be repaved. It's on the Yuba Street Alley, kind of one block over from Pine Street. So as you come into the new downtown, you'll see this mural by day, and then it will be illuminated at night in a pretty cool way. Then on the, I guess, opposite bookend of the new downtown, we've got Tehama Street and Market Street. There is a monument sign that's being built right now by Wonder Metals and Sinorama Reading. We've got a tile specialist out there. We've got Ryan Russell donated his architecture to the design of that. He also designed the streetscapes for downtown Reading. We're looking forward to that being completed by the time they open Market Street, which I was told this week is supposed to be January 29th, but they said it's a fluid situation and weather can change it. So it could maybe be quicker or it might take a little bit longer, but it's coming. I encourage anyone to do a little walk around downtown and see the cobblestones kind of a thing. It's actually street pavers really. And the murals that have popped up, just the activity of having all of the people living next door at 1551 Market Street is pretty cool. And then also check out the former California Street parking garage and what's happening in that area. Last note is Garden of Lights. So proud of that Reading City Identity Project idea and how it doubled what the expectations were in terms of attendance. They had expected maybe 40,000 people. It's going to be reported that it's more like 80,000 that went through. And that's just Todd Jones's visits. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing. No, Todd went a number of times. So
I think I went 6 times.
So we're very grateful. He is advocating for a season pass next year, but they will be able to illuminate the gardens and improve on the gardens throughout the year. So it's not just a 30-day win for the community. It'll be a 365-day opportunity. They've rehired the professional lighting expert and garden expert that the chamber paid for to design the light show. He's going to come back and design a better garden experience year round for the community. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
That was a huge success. That's great.
Yeah, it was beautiful. All right, so I guess that's going to wrap this up. Unless anyone has any questions for any one of us, please let us know.
I have a question. Does anybody have any giveaways?
There you go, Erin.
Any giveaways today? Okay, I don't.
All right.
I have a quick question. I'm going on Rhonda's in the chat. Rhonda, are you guys moving, Kelly's? You are? Where are you moving to?
the old escape rooms across the street.
Oh, across the street? Across Hilltop?
Right, Rhonda, we're having a really hard time hearing you. So,
Where
I
the old
think
escape rooms were.
yeah, the old escape rooms, and they're doing a really cool kind of renovation in that space and really cool things planned. So we're excited for
They'll have a very big outside seating area. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good, congratulations. All
Yeah,
right, so I guess
that's
if
an
that is
expensive
it,
endeavor.
what do you think, Bill?
I said that's an expensive endeavor. Definitely stop by and have a beer.
Yeah, they need our support, and we need to rally around because this is a big move at a time like this.
Yeah, for sure. When is their last day at their current location? Anyone?
I am not sure.
Rhonda, can you type that in the chat when your last day is at your current location, real quick?
No pressure.
Saturday, she thinks. Okay.
She said they gotta drain the kegs. We gotta go over there and have some beers, man.
That's right.
Yeah, Rhonda, do you
right.
still have the intravenous lines hooked up so I can just like hook one in my arm and go from there?
That's going to be at the new space, Bill.
Damn it.
Fabulous.
Asking questions, so she has to struggle to type.
I know. I feel bad trying to wait for it. Okay, doke. Well, thank you. All right, so I guess we'll see everybody at Kelly's Pub on Saturday. And then everybody, and then also again next Thursday. So I want everybody to have
Friday.
And
right?
Friday.
And Saturday.
What's
Rhonda's
Friday?
like, yeah.
Oh, Rhonda's, yes.
Did you
Okay.
want to ask her about that, Bill?
What's that?
I said, did you want to ask her about that? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, of course, we can make her talk.
All right. So I guess we're gonna wrap up.
Okay, go
Thanks
ahead.
everybody for being here. We'll see you next week and obviously this weekend. Have a
Goodbye,
great
COVID campers.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.